I'm going to talk about 10 trends that will shape communication in this year. There's, the shift to mobile, content marketing, more analytics-based communication, the whole shift where Google is going with their authorship mechanisms, things that for thought leadership are very relevant, the shift to video-based and visual communication. It's those trends that we need to, be aware of and integrate in our work. It's always hard to generalize. I think the Swiss as a whole, or if you look at Swiss companies as a whole, there's always going to be early movers, there's always going to be laggards, as always. So I think there are Swiss companies which are already out there doing everything they need to do. If you look at Migros, if you look at Swiss, the big brands which have, the right strategies in place. And there's a lot of middle companies that are somewhere in the middle and a lot of laggards as well. So I hope that this year will change a bit, make more companies change faster. I think it's the year where a lot of companies will realize that the speed that they adopted over the last couple of years was probably a bit too slow. There's some interesting findings after 2 months. One thing is that we see that the Swiss Romandie is very, very active in terms of how they discuss news articles, how they share news articles. So if you just look at the quantity of how many readers we have in the Swiss Romandie and in the German-speaking part, the amount and the activities are way higher here than they are in the German-speaking part. That's something interesting. And the shift to visual communication, that's the other thing you see. Those articles that trend regularly are always enriched with slideshows, lists, GIFs, videos. It's that kind of stuff that people like to share, that people like to pass along and discuss. And what else? I mean, very interesting for us is specifically looking at politics and how political topics are being discussed. And we kind of launched a visualized trend analytics last week, which gives you like curves over time. And there you can really see how, the discussions in the different part of Switzerland are not happening at the same time. So there's a lot of spillover stuff. Something is happening in the French-speaking part, and then you see 3 days later it transforms over to the German-speaking part. So there's a lot of interesting findings. It's a good question. I think there are new players in the market. If you look at Watson, the big new hyped news platform that just launched 2 weeks ago, the way I see them, they're trying to do this. Take the tools and the ways of shaping stories for the web with a lot of images, slideshows, lists, etc., but make it relevant, high quality stuff. And I think that media house that's going to really crack that formula of combining the two, they're going to, perform highly and attracting a lot more eyeballs to their website, which is in the end their resource for money and business. It's going to be interesting. Right now, it's also something I'd like to highlight. It's not just the Miley Cyrus stories, etc., that really get swept up in the top 10. It's a lot of, let's say, intellectual articles that get swept up as well. And that's the power of social. If people find on the NZZ portal website some kind of interesting, really thought-rich piece, just by people passing it along, it suddenly makes its way up into the top 10. And that happens regularly, like every 2 weeks you have something there where you think, okay, that's now sitting along next side to a 20-minute article which is about Miley Cyrus or any other starlet. So it's happening, yeah.